So today, with that being said, we're going to talk about court remedy as well as some testimonies that people have been getting. Now, inside of the Telegram, got some messages from our very own Dominic here. She's having some trouble with Missouri and doing DBAs there. So Dominic, take notes, get your pen and paper out. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to show you exactly how to do it for Missouri, because I do have a few private clients in Missouri that I'm working on, and this is how we had to do it to get it recorded. So I'll go over that briefly, and then we'll get into all the testimonies and so on and so forth. All right. Go to this. So Dominic, I'm sure you are familiar with this portion. All right. Missouri Secretary of State, this is the only place that you can record your DBAs. You cannot go down to the county in Missouri. It's all done here at the state level. Now, when you find the document, it looks something like this. It's called Registration of Fictitious Name, only $7. People in California are really jealous of you right now. Now, it's in your best interest to read this chapter. They tell you how to fill out this form. Of course, I read it, and this is how you do it. Let's start from the top. You're going to select new registration. They do not allow you to put the words express trust. So you're going to have to use syntax. You have to abbreviate trust with TR. You're going to have to abbreviate trustee with TTEE. Those are syntaxes that you have to learn. So it says the undersigned is doing business under the following name. And keep in mind, guys, if your county or state operates like this, where they say you cannot have trust doing business as somebody's individual name, take notes. This is how you do it. We're not getting around it. We're just doing it. Well, yeah, we're getting around it, okay? We're getting around it. But it's effective. The undersigned is doing business under the following name at the following address. Let's say my Express Trust is named Scottsdale Express Trust. I don't write trust, I write TR. Doing business as, I would like to say Trina Farquad short, right? For first, middle, last, but I'm not going to do that. They want it done as an entity. So you would say Trina Farquad family of short estate. Remember, the estate is comprising your social security number anyway. Business address. I want you to use a mail service address with the suite number. Go to iPostal 1 or whoever you want to use. It says here that you can use a PO box, right? It must be a physical street address. Apply the city and state with the zip code. If you place it in brackets, that means the zip code is not really on the page. That's called the four corner rule. And I would do that. Ownership. You're going to add the foreign trustee. If you have one, this is where you would list their name. Why? Because you're saying the Express Trust is doing business as such and such. And the manager of the trust is the trustee. Use their foreign address and claim 100% ownership. Then down below, you would list your name, the current name that you have, not your title nobility name. All right. Use your full name, U.S. address. This could be the same as up here. City and state, postal code, 0%. You are not the owner. The trust is the owner. Go down. All owners must affirm by signing below. Now, this document does not require notary. So you may sign on behalf of your trustee. Let's say their name is Vandal Savage. You would put TTEE for the trustee abbreviation, the date, and sign their name. Then you would sign your name down below. Okay. Your name. Put the date. Sign your name. Where do you want them to return it? Of course, your name. Put the mailing address and include a money order for $7. Make it payable to the Secretary of State of Missouri. Send it to this address. All right. What's the other derivative of this? The next one would be your title of nobility name. So you would take this off and you would say, let's say it's going to be Trina Landgrave. That is a title of nobility if you are from the German estate or lineage. That's it. Nothing else changes. Right? Well, here we go. What's next after the title of nobility? Let's say you have an LLC, Stanton Logistics, LLC. Now, who is the member of the LLC? Sometimes it's you, sometimes it's another partner. If you have another partner with you, you have to list their name here and of course put 0%. Right? You guys both agree that the trust is going to own the company. Now, let's say you do not want to pay further taxes each year under this LLC. You would do another one, Stanton Logistics Unincorporated Association. With this entity, you have to get another EIN number. Go and open up a bank account with that EIN number and have all the monies go into there. What's next? Last but not least, let's say you have your trust enterprise. It can be Scottsdale Express Trust Enterprise, or it can be any other name you want. I'm here in Florida, so let's go with Mickey and Pluto Trust Enterprise. Do that. Down here, you're going to be the trustee, the public trustee under this enterprise, which was derived from your plenipotentiary of power contract. So therefore, it's just going to be your name here as the public trustee. That's it. That's about what, 5 or 6 DBAs that you have to send in separately to the Secretary of State. All right, that's how you do a DBA in Missouri. So let me stop sharing. I'm going to go ahead and open up for some testimonies here. We have briefly, let's talk about an injunction testimony. Isaiah is here in the office with me. Let's see, is your brother online? There he is. Peyton. Peyton Douglas. Peyton Hassan, Peyton Bey, Peyton L, whichever title of nobility name you selected, Imago Dei. You are unmuted. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I could hear you.
All right, got Isaiah in the office here. Go ahead and you guys talk it out. What's going on? I'm going to share my screen as well to kind of show these guys what we're talking about as far as your incident, what happened, and the remedy that you got.
Yeah, okay. So on July 18th, I had got pulled over on the 210 in San Bernardino for having my phone in my hand as I was driving. So I got pulled over. He was on a bike, and he cited me a ticket to appear in court 3 months after he had gave me the ticket.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to the courthouse. I stood in line, and as I got to the window, the lady looked up my ticket number, and she had let me know that the case was not on file, and that the officer had possibly made a mistake and gave me a case number he had previously used.
Mm-hmm. That seems to be, and that you got this ticket 3 months ago. Usually you're supposed to get something in the mail, like a summons saying appear in this date to come and talk about it and say if you're guilty or not guilty, right?
Correct.
Now, this is in the county of San Bernardino in California. Which office did you go to? There's a couple here.
I had went to the one in Fontana.
All right, let me click on Fontana. Let's see. You did give us your copy of your ticket so we can look at that. There you go. Let me blow this up. Go. All right, so I see down here, it says Fontana Courthouse at the very bottom. The officer wrote, without admitting guilt, I promise to appear at the time and place indicated below. Where's the signature? It's nowhere to be found, right? What's interesting is this case, this citation number over here, this is what I'm going to type in. Everybody pay attention to the date of this. This was April 2022. And this is the citation number that he gave you. We're going to go in and see if we can actually pull it up and pay it if we want to, right? We can always have that option. And Peyton, you see my screen as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay, go to case search. Go ahead and read that case out for me, the citation number.
The citation number is 76 VC 001 CV.
All right. Looks like another name comes up. Ticket that was going all the way back to April of 2019. Someone named Joshua Bakar. And they've assigned a case to it. Case not available. We just looked at this a few seconds ago, and the case came up and it was closed as of 2019. Let's try it again. You guys just saw that. They just didn't let me do it. Let's try again. Your case number. Here we go, finally. Look at this. Case status. Closed. When? It was filed April 2019. How does an officer give you a citation number in 2022 that was assigned to a closed case in 2019? This is what I'm talking about. Your injunction that you filed prior to being pulled over showed up, but he's not going to admit it to you. And they'll just give you something that's just, it looks like you're in trouble, but you're not. Now you went down there and what did the clerk lady say?
She said that he has up to 4 months to file, but usually if this problem occurs, that the officer used a case number twice.
Right. In my opinion, this is over. You should have received something in the mail saying appear, and they should have already assigned a whole nother case number attached to this citation number. And instead, it gives you one that's attached to an older case. I've seen this before when someone is trying to fight something and they win. However, it looks like they didn't. So what happens is the judge will just, or the prosecutor will reassign your case under a whole nother case number and you can't find it. They play games like that just to show that you didn't win, but they're not going to move forward with anything. So I say to you that congratulations with properly filing your injunction. You did it correctly. And this is what happens. Either they just let you go or they give you a false citation, making you think that you have to do something in the future, but there's nothing for you to do. Nothing. So, and kudos to Charles. Charles, he's here. He was actually the notary for all of his injunctions in California. So it's always good to befriend a notary who can sign these documents for you guys, because there's a lot of documents that we have to file that need to be notarized. Appreciate that. Thank you for coming in.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. Let's go here. We got another one. Let's see. Flex, are you here? If you are, go ahead and unmute your mic. He is here somewhere. There he is.
Hey, hey.
Right.
What's good, family?
I believe everybody's doing good. Thank you for coming in. You've got a little something to share as well, right?
Yes, sir.
Cool. Well, to start from the beginning, inquiring minds would like to know.
Oh, man. So, last year, September 2021, when I first kind of was diving into this information, I got into an incident over at a Quick Trip out here in Atlanta, Georgia. And long story short, with that situation, I was kind of hyped up. I've been in the Quick Trip several times. I always go there like almost 4 or 5 times a day, and I was getting some backwoods or whatever, and I guess it was a little busy in there that day, and they never really carded me ever, rarely, and for whatever reason, the lady never wanted to card me. So I was just asking the question, like, well, why you want to card me today? Just being, trying to be cordial with her. I guess she just wasn't really having it. She was pretty busy. So she had called, she had told me that she need to card me, whatever. And I was asking a bunch of questions, like, well, if I didn't like her carding me, I could leave. And I was like, well, I don't want to leave. I need to make a purchase, woo woo. And then she ended up calling the security guard over, and the security guard, said that, I need to leave. And I asked him, well, why do I need to leave? I'm just trying to make a purchase. I just got some questions for my purchase. You know what I'm saying? And he said, well, if you don't leave, I'm gonna call the police. Police get called. I end up calling the police. Situation turns very quick. So when the police finally shows up, I go outside with the police, talk to him. Police officer explains to me that, that they asked me to leave, so I got to leave. And I'm telling them, well, I don't mind leaving. I'm just trying to get an understanding of why do I have to leave? What is the problem? I'm at a public accommodation. I'm trying to make a purchase, and everybody's saying I got to leave, and not really giving me even letting me know who they are. And I had asked the security guard to identify himself, but he never did. So long story short, the police officer gave me like an ultimatum. I ended up getting in the car. We had some more words, and before I knew it, while I was in my car trying to leave, the police officer reached in the car, pulls me out of the car, and tells me I'm under arrest, and charged me for criminal trespass and obstruction of an officer, some other stuff. So they arrested me, locked me up, that sort of thing. And then before I got into Avery's, of course, I was met with a bunch of other people, telling me to do a bunch of different things. So I was doing a lot of stuff that I thought was in equity. And they had me filing all this paperwork and doing all this stuff, and it wasn't really working out in my best regard. I ended up still getting a call to go to court. And when I was trying out the stuff that I was learning at the time, it wasn't quite working out. Me and the judge ended up having a shouting match on our first hearing, and it was on Zoom. And she tried to, she ended up muting me on Zoom. It was crazy. She was muting me on Zoom. She was telling me I couldn't speak and all this other stuff. Basically wouldn't let me get out what I was trying to get out, because I was trying to put certain things on the record. Mm-hmm. And she ended up she called me back the next morning at 9 a.m. in the morning, physically coming to court. Physically came into court that morning, tried some other stuff as well. Then she tried to push me to go to a hearing. Around that time was around the time when when I was in Avery's course, and I got familiar with Avery and had a private consultation with him, and I had already filed my trust and everything like that. So he had gave me some concepts of what I could do, what I could file, and what I should say, going into court. And going into it, I went in there with that, and she still tried to override me and try to have me come back into court for another hearing. And that was for like another 2 or 3 months. So mind you, like I said, this started in September. The last court hearing was what, June was in last month, I think. Was it last month? This month, Tay?
Mm-hmm.
It was this month. This month. Wow.
Yeah.
This month. That's how many times I've been to court. It was this month. And so this time Avery had me go in there and basically show the judge my DBA that was filed with the county, and explain to her that I was basically in the wrong, that I was in the wrong court. And when I went in there and did that, it turned into a wild house. The moment that I said that I was that I need to take this matter of equity to the correct court, it triggered the judge, and the judge literally shut me up. She told me that she's gonna get back to me. She made me go last. It was a full courtroom in there, mind you. She made me go last. It was a 9 a.m. Court call. We probably didn't get heard till about 1:45.
Soon as you said that, she said you got to go last after everybody else, right?
Correct.
Meaning she was about to say she didn't want it to get out to everybody else.
And that's what I believe as well. And so she actually ended up forgetting that I was even in there. She had went through everybody's cases, and then they was doing a call for everybody's cases, I guess. And then they realized that I was still in the courtroom. I was the last one, like, physically in the courtroom. And it was like some other lawyers and maybe some jurors or something like that in there as well. So when she got back to me, she was trying to railroad me into the trial again. And I started stating some of the things I was learned from Avery, basically letting her know that, this is the trial like procedure. She's basically running court from a playing judge from a bench, things like that. And she was really just trying to shut me up. And so at one point she ended up saying, Mr. Winder, I'm going to give you a gem. And I caught that because from my studies of equity, the judge is really not supposed to give you any kind of help unless you're in equity. And at the time, because I'm not as reserved as Avery, at the time, I was kind of, rushing the gun a little bit and not really catching what she was doing at the time. But when she said this, she told me, she said, Mr. Winder, I'm going to tell you that you're stating the wrong, but what you're saying is wrong. She said that you're in the correct court. She said your jurisdiction is what you're trying to challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, and you're in the correct court. She said, so what I'm going to do is see you on Thursday morning. She was trying to still, get me to come to the trial at 9 a.m. And if you don't come, you're going to have a bench warrant. Now, mind you, I had filed my birth certificate. I filed my declaration of trust, my contract between me and my sole trustee, my DBAs. I have all this already filed in the case. And when the judge denied my DBA, when I brought it to her, she was just saying, hey, I'm going to see you in the court. I told her I wasn't trying to go to trial. She said, it doesn't matter what you say, blah, 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 blah. End up leaving out the court. After contemplating and going back and forth, blowing Avery's phone up, going back and forth with my friend that was involved in the situation with me.
Yeah, my phone was ringing off the hook.
I was blowing them up because I really didn't know really what to do and how to really deal with the situation appropriately. And I was panicking a little bit. And so I didn't want to get off of my square and take up something that would put me, back into their jurisdiction. And so the prosecutor was giving me an offer. And so my friend was saying, you need to call the prosecutor and just take the offer. And I was like, well, I want to get a better understanding of how this offer works. And so I contemplated, and then finally I called the prosecutor. It's probably about 3 or 4 hours after the court, after I walked out of court. And as soon as I called the prosecutor said, hey, this is Mr. Winder. I was like, yeah. She said, I'm actually just submitted a dismissal for your case. I said, excuse me? She said, yes. She said, the judge and I disagree on the law. But I'm going to send you, you're going to receive some paperwork in a minute that kind of explains, what's going on. And I was just like, wow, thank you. I respect your decision, that sort of thing. But really didn't quite understand what she was saying, that that her and the judge disagreed on the law. Mm-hmm. So when I finally contacted Avery, me and Avery chopped it up, and he was saying, well, you know, they're not gonna basically let you know that you knew what you were doing. And so when I got this nolle prosequi, which basically means no prosecution, they're dropping the prosecution. They got it checked here where it says an assessment has been made by the prosecutor, and it is determined that in the best interest of justice, the prosecution should be terminated and the record is restricted. And the only thing that I can think of is when a prosecution maybe opened up the actual, because I don't think they actually looked into the case until, you know, I actually went all the way and it was time for trial. They had to see all the trust filing paperwork in there, which would let the prosecution know that, hey, they can't touch this because this matter can't even be in this court.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I believe was why she selected this right here, because that has to be under the best interest of justice, because they can't do anything because that's a common law situation and not a civil situation.
Correct. Now, two things. Clear giveaway. I believe you met in court that day. I think it was the 8th of July.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it was, a Friday. And she said, I'm going to have you come back Thursday so you can have your trial.
No, it was a Monday. It was a Monday, and she was going to have me come back Thursday.
Okay, let's say Monday, and have you come in 3 days later.
Mm-hmm.
That never happens.
What you mean?
That never happens. Because if you are in court and you're going to receive you have to receive a notice to come in for the next time that she selected. That's not enough time for them to put all that together and properly serve it to you so you can come in. So what she was telling you there was, as we go through these things, we pick it up and we figure it out. Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. Now, to everybody else in the courtroom, they're like, oh yeah, he got to come back, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's something that you would pick up. There's no possible way for a court to serve you that quick. No way. And this is a jewel right here, this document here. This was your dismissal case. It says entry of noje. I'm not going to worry about pronouncing that. 2 L's in Spanish is a J. I don't know if they want the Spanish, the French, or whatever. But when you guys have a case and you guys ask for a motion to dismiss, you can call it motion for dismiss and hyphen it with that word there. NOLLE, proseque, whatever they call it. Be specific. Be specific and ask them for what you want. And in this section here where they checked it off, an assessment has been made by the prosecutor, and it is determined that it is in the best interest of justice that the prosecution shall be terminated and the record is restricted. Don't be afraid to ask in your motion for dismiss that this record be restricted, meaning you don't want anyone else to be able to find it and use it as precedence in their case. They honor that. They will give you that. We'll shut this case down, and you are telling us that you're not going to tell anybody else what to write, what to reference, anything like that. That's a major jewel, major jewel. And you're right. You was in the right court. You didn't know that you was, but she switched the hat. She went from an administrative judge under the APA to an equity court judge immediately. And how fast did that take place once she's told you that you are inside of a equity court? From that point on, was it like 5 minutes additional?
But she never actually said I was in the equity court. She never.
Oh, of course. She's not going to say
would never respect that.
Right. She's not going to say it, but her actions.
I mean, she switched immediately. I mean, like I said, I think when I said the word equity at first, it triggered her. And I forgot to mention, she even took a break at one point. She just walked out the courtroom and came back. It was weird. I guess she was resetting, I guess
so. So I think what happened was, in the public, with everybody else listening, it made it look like you didn't know what you're talking about and you got to come back. And once she walked out of there, she dealt with the prosecutor in her private chambers and told her, because the prosecutor said that we had a disagreement of the law. The prosecutor only knows procedures. That's what she went to school for, and that's what she gave her oath to the Bar Association for. The judge knows procedures and law. Now, in her chambers, she's going to completely protect you in equity court. So that was the difference of law. One was administrative procedures, and the other one was common law. Those two do not mix together. So she had no choice but to terminate this case. Best interest of justice, the prosecution should be terminated. That's it. Now, for all of you guys going into equity court for accord and satisfaction, expect something like this. Expect when your case is done, they're going to have it on there. Record is restricted if you get it done. But you got to go through the entire process and see what happens. So there's others who attempted to do what Flex did, but the nerves got the best of them and they could have had it. You just have to stay the course. It's always going to look like you're not getting your remedy up front, but you're going to get it. They have no choice but to give it to you. And if not in your current courtroom, you'll get it in the next appeal court. That's how it works. And when we showed Peyton's case, that citation number had nothing to do with his name. His schedule of fees is on the record. And it says if you even use his name in their courtroom, he's charging a couple $1,000s. There's no way they're going to give him a case number. That's why it was sent all the way to some case going back to 2019, a closed case. The injunction works. I believe it was a combination of the injunction for Peyton, his trust being recorded, and for you, Flex, your injunction, your DBAs in your county, and your trust. All of that put in on the record in the proper time, enough time for the judge to see it. All you had to do was just make a brief statement and stick to that. And you got your win.
So do you believe that they actually looked in the case at all? I'm just curious.
They look at it. They see it.
Gotcha.
They have to see it. If you serve everyone, the clerk of court and the judge assigned, including the prosecuting attorney, that's the court rules. If you do all of those things, they will treat you fair in the private. And this is what I call a private trust matter. They didn't mention your trust. They just had to deal with you directly, but they're dealing with the trust in the private. It's going to be very different when you sue now. So let's talk about that.
Yes, let's talk about that.
All right. It's time for you to get some grievances. Now your trust can come in and file a bill of complaint utilizing this case number. Only you can use it. Okay. You would file a bill of complaint and you would be suing the county that arrested you. You have to come up with some bullet points as to how you were harmed, how you were damaged. And it's basically going to come down to your name, copyright infringement. Okay. So that means look at your schedule of fees. Everyone has this in their trustee minutes. I believe that's number 2 or 3. Look inside your schedule of fees and see everything that they've done against you. And you have to go back to your ticket, your citation, and pull up the codes and see how that goes against your schedule of fees. Now you bring your schedule of fees into the jurisdiction as an exhibit. Now you bring this document right here, this entry, as an exhibit B. And you have to state, I want this to be off the record. If you pay me any damages, the public is not supposed to know this. No one is supposed to know this except for the trust. So that means you got to have your trust account open and ready because they're going to pay the trust. If you get a check written out to the trust, where are you going to deposit the check? It has to go to the trust account. So all these things have to be in place before we sue. I believe this was an excellent example of utilizing every little piece of your trust packet. So not only are you guys obtaining zero tax liability, but you're understanding how to use this information to protect your property. All property that's accumulated through that birth certificate. Excellent, excellent call. So we'll be talking soon about how to put that bill of complaint together, Flex. That's important too, to make sure it's drafted the way it should be. Coolio. All right, let's go to some questions really quick. We have about 15 minutes left. James, you got your hand up. You are unmuted. What's going on? There you go. James, you there?
I'm sorry, I had to physically unmute it on my stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, can you hear me?
There we go.
I just want to piggyback upon that because that's what I've learned over the years. If the public, at large knew that this stuff was possible, see, every time that the public finds out that stuff like this is possible, you're putting a dent or a fracture in their system. That's why they want all this stuff, like the person you were just talking to, of course, that's why they made him wait. I've heard of that before too. As soon as you start talking about that you're knowledgeable of this stuff, they cut you off and they say, all right, I'll take your case last, because they do not want the public to know about this stuff.
Right.
And like you said, they hide it. And so basically you're saying you're not going to get anywhere unless you request for it to be off the record. That's the only way that you can get things like this done. You'll get everything established, you'll get everything remedied and rectified, but it can't be any record of it, because obviously when other people have cases in the future, like how when people go to court and they try to bring up like constitutional cases and they cut them off and they say, we're not allowing you to use that in court. It's the same grounds, right? Because
right.
People could use what you did in the future and say, oh, well, they said this. And then before you know it, it gains speed or whatever. And then before you know it, they don't have a court system anymore because their whole court system is found to be fraudulent.
Exactly. Exactly. It would be all out war. Everybody could use your case to get out of their traffic tickets and all of this stuff,
Not just that, but people that are incarcerated. Think about that.
Very true.
It would be everything,
Mm-hmm.
that would be going on.
Mm-hmm.
So the other half of it I wanted to say is, and I think me and Reggie found out about this years ago too. And you always hear it, like when you get pulled over for a traffic stop or anything, it's pointless, right? If you're going to get arrested, you're going to get a ticket. You can't fight that on the street because that's not a place of court. You can only do it in the actual court, right? So you have to suck that up at the time, right?
Correct. We try to have the injunction in place beforehand, but as you see, sometimes they ignore it. So then you have to go to court and take care of it. And you will take care of it in court when you have all of these pieces in play. And the greatest thing about this is,
I'm gonna cut you off, baby.
oh, you're okay. The greatest thing about this is we didn't come into court saying that we're sovereign, that we're a citizen, that we are American nationals. None of that. You don't need to. They know who you are. That's why you're in the courthouse where probate records are at. They know who you are. They know where you come from. So I try to stay away from making those statements, but I will write it down in my paperwork saying that Avery Duval Cottrell, a California national, but not a U.S. citizen, according to Public Law 94-241, under the declaration of such and such express trust. Here's my DBA. Done. Got my introduction out of the way. I'm the settler and I'm here on this matter. Before we move forward, am I in the right jurisdiction to hear trust matters? Or is this an administrative court proceeding? That's a question. And I'm not moving forward until that question is answered. 9 times out of 10, they got to reschedule me for another month and I never get anything in the mail, or they just dismiss the case. That's how you have to move forward.
had another question too, Avery.
I'll come back to you. We got 4 hands up.
No
I try to
problem.
get everybody at least 2 questions, and then if we have more time, we come back around.
Okay, no problem. Just letting you know.
All right. Thank you. All right. How you doing, Edwin? Unmuted.
Today is where I'm in my process. Something that what we talk about is, like, I want to do this and have a lot of issues, but I
You
want
gotta get reconnected.
the point I'm really.
You got to get reconnected. It's really bad connection. Really bad. Really bad. Try one more time. All right. So he'll come back in. I'll go back to him. Let's go to Karif.
Hey, what's going on, Avery? How you doing?
Doing all right. Thank you.
My question pertains to the injunctions. So, am I correct in saying that we have to do the procedure twice? Once for our social security name or birth name, and a second one for our title of nobility name?
Yeah. Want to answer that, Isaiah?
Yeah, sure. So you're going to be mailing it off 3 times to 4 parties. It's going to, each mailing is going to contain your straw man name, your birth name, your spiritual name, and your trust.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, you got to do it 3 times. You're saying?
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha.
In a 72-hour time period. So you're going to do your first mailing, you're going to wait 72 hours, and then you're going to do your second mailing, and then you're going to wait another 72 hours, and then your third mailing.
Okay, and that's basically starting the procedure for all 3 entities.
Well, basically what we're saying is we're following the very same rules that the courts do to you to get you locked up or in their jurisdiction. This is all coming from the Administrative Procedures Act of 1946. So if in your first one, it's called the first notice, and you got your trust name in there, you've got your title nobility name in there, and you've got your birth name, which is on your driver's license, that's on there. Your first notice is going to be sent to the Chief Justice, the Attorney General, the Sheriff, and who's the third? And the Governor. So that's 4 people on the first notice.
Gotcha.
Do that, wait 72 hours minimum. Then you are going to do the notice to cure. That's the second one. It's going to the same 4 parties. That's going to require a second notary signature. You cannot sign all of these at once and then just send them out separately. Okay.
Right.
Wait 72 hours, then you do the default notice. That default is going to the same 4 parties, and your process is done. What should come back to your mailing box is the green return receipts, right? The green cards. Mm-hmm. And on there is going to have the registered mail numbers. You should have sent that off restricted delivery. Why? Because you want to make sure you show the judge all of these people signed this document saying that they received it, and they didn't answer my injunction. So therefore, I'm placed on the list, and whenever there is irreparable injury, now I can sue.
Gotcha.
Right.
I'm also take this time to drop a little shameless plug, if you don't mind. So we do provide this service for you if you guys are having trouble or you just want to let us do it. And you could find the application inside of the Patreon.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've been working on some of the other stuff. So I was starting to put my focus on the injunction. That was one of the questions that I had. But definitely, when I do my consultation, I'll probably, if I got any additional questions, I'll bring it up then.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
All right, Grief. All right. On to Jesus. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Avery? How you doing?
Doing good today.
Happy Saturday to everybody in the chat. You said right now that we should receive something back, because I sent my injunction in March. I did it the proper way. You know that. We went over it together. I never got anything back. No return, no proof that they received it or anything.
Well, let me tell you this. They're not in the business of giving you any proof of nothing, right?
Yeah.
So what you do is just look at your receipts from the post office and go to the postal office website where you can check the tracking and place it in there. That should tell you that it was received or still pending. Now, don't be surprised. Mines that I did in 2017.
Yeah, you told me. It's in transit.
Ended.
Yeah.
But I get remedy. So it's fine.
Yeah. Same with me. I sent out, the whole batch, and I didn't get all my return receipts back at all.
Yeah, I'm not even stressing it because I already know it's recorded, and I know they're not here to say, "Oh, okay, we can't control you no more." I get it.
Right. Because if you think about it, this is where the UPN comes into play. The treaty with the post office and the postmaster general. You can go down there and say, "Look, I served this thing 4 months ago. How are you guys still delivering this thing?" They're gonna look stuck on stupid because they don't know how to answer that. And it's registered mail when you paid the extra insurance for it, right? You made the declaration of 9,000, and they're gonna look at you with a bold face and say, "We haven't delivered it." They're gonna say, "Well, we don't know what to say. Go ahead and file this application on appeal, and then we'll work it out from there." So that means it was delivered. Everything else go through except for this. Or let me say, everything else goes through smoothly. Your injunction goes through, but they're not going to let you know it did. Let me open up James's mic here. I don't know if you have it on you, James, but you received a document from the Attorney General in regards to your injunction.
Really? Where's James from?
He's California. Go ahead, James.
Okay.
Yeah, I did. Matter of fact, I'll read it to you what it says.
It's going to be good.
It says, "Dear James Johnson, thank you for your correspondence to the Office of the Attorney General. We appreciate hearing from citizens on matters of public concern. However, we are prohibited by law from representing private individuals or providing legal advice, legal research, or legal analysis to private individuals under any circumstances. We recommend that you consult with a private attorney. An attorney would directly represent interests and is the one whose advice would be helpful to you. You may obtain a referral to a certified lawyer referral service by calling a straight bar phone, blah, 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 blah." And then he said, "We regret that we could not be of further assistance to you, but hope that the information we have provided clarifies our restrictions in regards to your request. Thank you again, public, Rosa McElroy Public Inquiry Unit." Then it's got a stamp from Bonta at the bottom, his signature stamp.
Right. I received the same thing a couple of years ago too, from the Attorney General.
You told me that was going to happen, Avery.
I told you.
You told me. I said, "What happens if I get a letter from any of them?" You said nothing. You'll get a letter from the AG saying that they can't represent you. That's it. You're good. Don't worry. You told me this back in March.
That's what you're gonna get. Mostly all the time in California, and we've seen that in other states. So you might get that in New Jersey, but that is a clear description as to that you are on the do not detain list, and since you are now private, we cannot represent private matters on the public. That's what they're saying.
Yeah, my question, well, I just wanted to touch upon that. Like, So everybody that sent their injunction out, you ain't gonna get nothing back. Just relax, you're good. Send it out properly 3 times. Isaiah helped me with mine. Avery, I want to talk about this super injunction that I heard about.
Mhm.
I did the one, county, whatever in my state. But what's this these whispers I'm hearing about a super injunction? If you don't mind touching up on it lightly.
Your state injunction is your state injunction. Now, the super injunction is something that you get on the federal level. The only way you can do it is by doing the express trust in your county, following that up with the name change in court, receiving a court order, and then obtaining that 1-star passport.
Okay, so I have to have all my ducks in order where I'm residing at first and then go big boy?
Basically, yeah.
Fair enough. Thank you for answering the question. And thank you for taking time to talk to me. Everybody have a great Saturday, and next person.
You too. Thank you. All right, Edwin, let's try again. Let's see if are you in a better location now?
Yeah, that's right. I'm out here traveling. But can you hear me good now?
Yes, loud and clear.
All right. All right. Hello, class. Hello, everybody. Thank you, Avery, like always. With what I was saying, though, with the company I'm dealing with, I want the trust to sue them down the road. Like with where I'm at in the processing, finishing the process, what's my best avenue of approach with like dealing with them? Do I have to stay or can I leave and when everything is set up, backtrack and, go for my equity for equity?
When you say stay, you mean stay with the employer you're with?
Yeah.
And you want like to start your own and move on that way?
No. I've been out of work since the 26th. I went to the hospital, but I deal with a lot of backdoor stuff to where they have put me in a bad jam because they've held me out of work for no reason. All my doctors have okay is put in a financial and I was wondering, do I have to stay with them and still doing business with them? Trust is finally
Okay, I got you. You going in and out again, but I got the majority of the question. Anytime an employer terminates you or puts you, out of commission for a while and they have no reasoning behind it, that is an automatic go to the the 1966 Civil Rights Act. And you have to go all the way down to Section 7. Chapter 7, Section 703. It's basically discrimination going against your contract. Now, I know you're a driver, so that means you're under 1099. You've given them a W-9. You're operating as an individual contractor. And you still have a right to go ahead and come at them. You can do a lawsuit. You will win because it's your trust going against their LLC or corporation. If their LLC or corporation is not already under a trust, it's going to make it a little bit more easier for your trust to win. But here's the thing. When you win, they're not going to be in business of keeping you on the job. So you got to be prepared to go and do your own thing or to be prepared to work with another company as a contractor.
Yeah, that's
But
what
yes.
I was planning on doing.
Yeah.
But I just want to know if I need to stay until I'm ready to pull it, or do I, can I venture off and then, come back and, when everything's in place.
Whichever is financially sound for you, you can do.
Okay. And my secondhand question with that, I'm ex-military and stuff like that, and I've been diagnosed with stuff like that. But VA because I did not serve in a combat situation, they won't give me my benefits that I deserve because they have diagnosed me and stated that the military is what caused me to, you know, have them diagnosis. And like once the trust is set up,
Yes.
can I got you?
Yes, you can. They are violating a section under Title 18. And that section is talking about, I don't remember off the top of my head the specific section, but it's under Title 18, and it talks about if they are to take away any of your equitable dues that was accumulated under your life, under the social, under some type of 401k or pension plan or anything like that, they are going to experience some serious fines and penance. So you would use that. It's going to be equity suit 241, 242. That's what it is. That's the type of suit that you would do.
All right, so that's on the back burner too. And the last one is when I was watching the videos over and over again, you know, I was watching the section with the authenticated birth certificate, and you were saying that there's an affidavit that should go on top, and it should be recorded at the office where all the deeds in the county are kept at. And I was wondering, is that something that you do through your process, doing that your part, or is that something that I'm supposed to go in and do in person with my authenticated birth certificate I have already?
Well, you among some others as our private clients, and we do that for you. But if you would like some of the experience in doing some of these processes, I will give it to you and show you how to do it so you can do it.
All right. Well, that's something that isn't something that needs to be done now. Now I know that you do it, but my next conversation with you, then I'll have it written out what all I need and stuff like that. That's all my questions for today. Appreciate it, Avery.
All right, no problem. All private clients get an hour consultation per month up until the process is done. So on our next go, I will have some documentation for you, Edwin, and a few others. Pretty excited about that. All right, thank you. Let's go to, we got Roland Gregg. How you doing? Just gotta unmute.
Yeah, hi there, Avery. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Yeah, I've been a member for a few months now. I just want to give you a little context. Well, first I want to say thank you for everything you do. Really appreciate it. Your knowledge is awesome. But I want to give you a little context for my question first. In 2012, I was studying with James McBride, and I actually did a life claim with the Divine Providence. I'm an inventor, and I work with very, very disruptive energy technologies. And after I did my life claim and sent it off with my limited knowledge back in 2012, I also had a private medical cannabis grow in Washington State. And I actually, it was following Washington State's medical cannabis law. It was a private cannabis club, basically a private, and we had 15 plants apiece, 5 people. We were very public about it. What happened after I filed my life claim is I was basically, my whole family was put in federal prison. Me and my wife and my mother and my stepfather and my friend. And we were actually growing the cannabis to make Rick Simpson oil. And we actually ended up curing my stepfather's pancreatic cancer with Rick Simpson oil. And I was really loud on social media, and that's why they came down on us. And I ended up fighting them for 5 years. I was just learning about living in the private back then. So I didn't really have all my ducks in a row, but I did certain things that actually ended up, I was convicted in 2015 of 33 months in federal prison. I appealed it to the Ninth Circuit Appellate Court, and then basically was able to get it dismissed, and all of our charges were dropped, and I was 100% exonerated for all 5 of us. In 2018. And so one of my questions is, and I'm going to definitely schedule some time with you this week or next week to give you more context. But one of my questions is, after I get the trust properly set up, is there any recourse that I could have in all of that? Because I have them admitting that they never had the right to actually do everything they did to us in the, and if you go to Pacer, I became pretty good at navigating Pacer because I filed every brief myself. I actually, I had to actually do I had to fire my public pretender and litigate the case myself for a bit. And then I got a volunteer. It was a pretty crazy story, but, but essentially it's been all exonerated and off my record. And I'm curious, after you get the trust set up, what kind of things could a person do? I'm curious your thoughts on that. And I have a second question about the trust too. Thank you.
Awesome question. What makes it easy for you is that you have something in writing from them saying that they didn't have the right to do what they did. And of course, you would definitely use that as an exhibit. Now, once your trust is set up together, what you need to do is do the bill of complaint. It's going to be your trust suing that jurisdiction that was once considered to be a plaintiff against you. Right? Ooh, and this is what you call an equity suit. You can use it under the same thing, equity 241, equity 242 suit. And what I would highly recommend.
That's exactly what I thought, a violation of rights under color of law. Right.
I highly recommend that you make sure you understand and make the court understand that your trust had already been in existence as an implied trust, even going back before when the conviction took place. However, the recording took place this year or whenever you're ready to do it. So that means you can state on your trust that it was established January such and such, and pick whatever year that goes before the conviction date.
Got it.
Some people are using their birth date on their 18th birthday because that's when everybody went into commerce right out of high school. Or they're using a date that pre-exists their LLCs or their corporation days. So that way their trust can assume all of those tax responsibilities. Because what you have to understand is your trust is going to assume not only tax liabilities, but bond liabilities. And that's what happened when they did the sentencing. Case numbers turned into a QSIP, and QSIPs turns into some type of bond. They say, 33 months? That's a 33 maturation of your bond. That's what you call irreparable injury. Okay, so you want to have your injunction in place.
Okay.
They violated you in the past, and inside of the injunction, there's a clause there that states that. Let me share that. Let me show you what that looks like.